The 49ers beat the Buccaneers as Brock Purdy obviously looked better than Tom Brady. We'll talk a little Devo Samuel injury, and we'll try and come up with new words to describe how good D'Amico Ryans is at his job. News for Right Option podcast starts right now.
Welcome, everybody.
We are live.
My name is Jason Aponte.
I am Andrew Pasquini.
We're working. That's it. We're working over here. That's it. Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners. Sprint Right Option podcast.
Oh my goodness, we are live. It is another new edition of the Sprint Right Option podcast. Hope they don't get sick of us this week, Jason, because they're going to hear from us a lot. Episode 1 of 3 this week. A little tease for the later of the week. I am Andrew Pasquini, joined as always by the beautiful, the word I've been using, incomparable, Jason Aponte. And Jason, I wish your name rhymed with another phallic word so I can give you a cool nickname like Brock Purdy.
The best part is that was a large hit. That segment.
Apparently it was.
You know, there was so many people who were like, "Man, I love that. I think that's great. More of that." Yeah. So, doing good. Just
talking wieners on the Sprint Right Option podcast.
I mean, high-level stuff only. Just finished the Snoopy game, so now Averly can stop bothering me. Maybe I can get to God of War. Like, everything's coming up Jason right now at this point.
Oh, we love it. Not even mentioning the Niners win yesterday. God of War, don't have to play Charlie Brown anymore. We're good.
We'll see.
Don't even need to mention Brock.
We'll see. It's TBD.
Jason, you are replaying that game a minimum of 7 times. I hope you know that.
I hate everything. And this is the worst punishment that anyone could suffer. Parenting.
I'm so excited to get the notification on my PS5 that Jason Aponte got a platinum trophy in Charlie Brown's Big Adventure.
And you know what's the worst part is I'm probably not good enough to even get that. So maybe I have to have another conversation about how bad I am in video games.
Well, we got to play MLB The Show one day, obviously, since you got the PS5
yeah.
now. We got to do that. We'll stream it on Twitch or YouTube. We were on YouTube, so we'll stream on YouTube. Jason, really, I think the most important thing that came out of 49ers world yesterday is, did the Niners break Tua Tagovailoa? I think that's a question that a lot of the streets be asking.
Streets is asking, and I was told that I thought Mike McDaniel was the secret sauce to this offense.
I still love him.
No, I mean, no, we love him too. It's just Kyle haters are having a really rough time right now. Kyle Shanahan haters right now, they're going through it. They're in a closet right now trying to process everything because they're running out of things to say about Kyle Shanahan. Winning games with a backup, back-to-back winning seasons, back-to-back playoff berths, going for it on 4th down, being aggressive at the half. Wait, what?
Now they're calling outside zones inside runs to further narrative.
Ooh, all right.
Oh, is that too soon?
Do you want to start?
No, we're going in order. We're going in order.
Go.
We're going in order. We're going to start with the quarter. You watch this? You see how slick this podcast is? We'll use the Devo conversation to segue from the running backs to the receivers. You see how we do that here on the Sprint Right Option podcast?
Yep.
But we are going to start at the quarterback position, Brock Purdy. Mm-hmm. And how electric was that? Him taking the deep shots, him finding receivers. It was an offense that we haven't seen as Niner fans for a while. Jordan Elliott, good friend of the podcast, tweeted out, throws 10-plus yards downfield, 5 for 5, 117 yards, 2 touchdowns, 23.4 yards per attempt. I believe the passer rating was 158.3, which is in football sense a perfect passer rating, because when I think of perfect, I think of the number 158.3. When I talk about Jason Aponte, I call him a perfect 158.3.
Perfect.
But that's great. That was great. That was a great impression of it. I love that. I don't even know who that is. I know what that is.
It's a Street Fighter.
That's what it is. Yes, the sound, you had it perfectly. It triggered the memory in my brain. I couldn't remember where it was. That was how good it was. But Brock Purdy, I don't know what else to say. I'm gonna try my absolute best, Jason, because like there's this fallacy. I don't think fallacy is the right word. Of everything that Brock Purdy does has to be compared to the other 2 quarterbacks on the 49ers. I just think it's Brock Purdy time. And that's really what it is.
Such is life as a 49er fan on 49ers Twitter. But look, what needs to be said about this kid right now? And again, you don't have to say anything prophetic. Just enjoy the ride, I think. I think that's the best advice I can give everybody right now at this point. Think about this team, right? Think about this team. And think about how other NFL teams operate. If any other NFL team was down to their third-string quarterback, their season is over. That's not the case for the San Francisco 49ers. It's because the roster, the culture, the coach, and Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy's doing things right now that you haven't seen in this offense. And there's something that feels sustainable about it.
Yes.
Doesn't seem like it's fluky, right? Guys have been running wide open in this system the entire time. The entire time.
Yeah.
And that's why it's kind of funny to me when people are like, well, is he going to call games differently for this guy or for this guy? The deep throws were always there.
Yeah.
Just some guys didn't take them.
Yes.
Purdy's taking them. The answers were always in the play. They were always there. There's your deep shot. There's your intermediate shot. There's your check down. It was always there. Certain guys' skill set puts them in a position where they throw certain places. Brock Purdy stands in there, takes hits, throws the ball down the field. It's just where we're at after week 2. So enjoy the ride. And I think no matter how this season ends, you as a 49ers fan have to know that your culture, your roster is so good, is so deep, that this is a team that can compete, and people are still scared of the 49ers, and they're on their third quarterback. This is a testament to the team that you root for. It's okay to be excited, guys. It is okay to be excited.
Yeah, and I think the closest thing I'll make to a comparison to the other two, I know I just said we shouldn't do it. The closest thing I'll make is you mentioned something about him, right? And he definitely had, I'm going to use the word poise. He had a poise to him, a nice little quarterback hit word that I feel like we haven't seen from Niner quarterbacks in a while. Not Garoppolo, not Lance. I'll even go, not just to make it not about those two, I'll even go further and mention Mullins, Beathard, Hoyer, names before that. And he had it. And Jason, you hit the nail on the head that these throws have always been there. And it's almost like, because as I said, I was at the game last week. I got to see things downfield as they developed. It felt like he didn't see a lot of deep shots against the Dolphins, even though they were there. It's almost as if Kyle Shanahan spent the entire week just saying, hey, trust what you see, because what you see is what's there. And it really felt like that's what happened. He trusted that he had Ayuk wide open on that touchdown throw to a point where he could grossly underthrow, which is okay. I'm not complaining about the underthrow. I'm not. I'm just saying that's how open Ayuk was, is when you give receivers that open, you get that wiggle room to miss a throw a little bit, right?
Andrew.
Same thing with the McCaffrey play. He has this – it's almost as if he knows he has a big phallic and he's walking around showing it off.
All right, so this is what we're doing. Andrew, I want to say something, and I want to get the people going, right? Because people don't like balanced, level-headed takes. People like hyperbole and things that get people talking. Here's my question. Has Kyle found his Kirk?
That's a March conversation, Jason. That's a March conversation. Because listen, it's very exciting to get that. It's very exciting to get the conversation going about. And Jason, we've said it before. The best case scenario out of this is we're having a debate in March about who the Niners 2023 quarterback is. Right? That's absolute. No matter. Don't let the Trey Lance people or the Jimmy Garoppolo people tell you on Twitter that this is Lance's job. This is Garoppolo's job if he resigns.
Let me say this.
The best case scenario is we have that conversation, right?
Let me say this. If somehow the 49ers are able to pull off this Super Bowl with Brock Purdy under center, you should make a movie of it, because the movie would be too unbelievable. Really wouldn't make sense.
Just start with the sentence of it was 2 quarterbacks in camp, and it was the mystery third that got the ring. Like that right. Alone.
So I would love to have that conversation if Brock Purdy decides to fuck around and get the 49ers at 6 wins.
Yes.
So my thing is, let's hold off on all of that.
Yes.
Let's see how this goes. Again, It depends on your viewpoint. I'm a naturally optimistic person, even if I'm always angry and yelling. But if we have this discussion, it's a good thing, right? Yes. And right now, I am just enjoying this team because I know the circumstances surrounding other NFL teams. If they were down to their third quarterback, it would be dire, right? Mm-hmm. Like the Jets had to play Joe Flacco yesterday. Yes. It's not where you want to be as elite as he is. The San Francisco 49ers are so well built, so many playmakers, such a good head coach, such a good play designer that you can have this discussion. And I think that's where you should look. Yeah. This season is fun. And no other team would be having this amount of fun if they weren't this well built. I think that's the best part about all this.
Yeah, and I see a lot of people in the chat mentioning a name that we haven't talked about too much on the podcast.
This is it. This is it. Callie says, yes. Jason, you see Kyle chopping it up with Purdy after the game. Yeah, that was basically him telling him like, "Yo, I'm sorry I called you Kirk." They say caption this, so that's what I could come up with. It was a Kirk Cousins thing.
Oh, mine was I responded to Angie's tweet with, so do you prefer Hemi Purdy or Brock Hemi? Because the guy seemed to just like saying the word Hemi. That was my caption to it.
Did you see? So hold on. So now that we're doing the phallic thing, right? Did you see after Purdy scored the rushing
touchdown? George Kittle? George Kittle? Oh, we love it. I hope George Kittle gets fined for that. Just so the NFL has to make a statement trying to describe what.
And look, and for our viewers or listeners that don't know what we're talking about, after Brock Purdy scores the rushing touchdown, George puts his arm between his leg,
from like really, elbow down, more or less. Just to give you an idea of size where I'm flying.
And look, this is a family show. I encourage fathers, mothers, if you're in the car with your kids, so you can listen to this. It's just, I'm sorry, we're having a child moment right now. We're like having a child moment right now.
It's exciting though. Like it's a very exciting time. We got the vibes. I mean, I even made the joke at the start before everything started. Was he's so confident in himself that he saw that the free runner was coming to get him the free 15 yards, that he killed the opening play to get that play. So he's like, no, I'll just take the free 15. I'll get blown up for the team, move forward. And he really showed that all game under pressure, 7 for 8, 109 yards, 2 touchdowns, 6 first downs. The only incomplete pass he had under pressure was batted at the line. So what can't you say about Brock Purdy's performance yesterday? I guess the only negative is he had 1 no throw, so we can continue that trend. But it was canceled out by a penalty, so it doesn't happen. Never happened.
Doesn't count. Never happened.
So there you guys go. There's the quarterback position. I see a lot of people in the comments mentioning Kyler went down Monday night, so that's unfortunate. It sounds like not a very good knee injury.
But Arizona's been done.
Yeah.
So I hate that. I don't want to see anybody injured, but it's not like Arizona was coming and they were like,
Well, it is that time of the season though, where if this is an ACL potentially, I haven't seen the play, so I can't talk about it. We could be talking about his 2023 season being down as well. So it is that time of year.
I'm fired up for Wednesday night then to watch Hard Knocks. I mean, I've been dialed in the entire time too, just because I love football and I love what they do. I don't like that for Kyler Murray, and I don't want any 49er fans lapping that up in any way, because that's not cool. The 49ers didn't need injuries to be better than the Cardinals. So there's that.
Running backs. You want to transition to the running back position? We'll talk about the 2 not named Devo Samuel. We'll touch on the Devo Samuel here at the end. Christian McCaffrey's a pretty good running back, Jason. I don't know if you know that. 119 rushing yards in the game. That was his most in the game since 2019. 4 of his first 5 runs went for 10 yards or more. Our guy Kyle Posey on Twitter, 41% of his runs since week 10 have gone for 15-plus yards, which I don't know if that's good or not, Jason. It sounds good. Christian McCaffrey is very good, and that's all I really have on McCaffrey.
Yeah. Look.
Sticking my neck out there, I know, saying Christian McCaffrey's really good at football, but hot takes here on the podcast.
my thing is all the pushback on, you know what? Oh, all right, here. Let's talk about this. All the pushback on the trade. Oh my God, how could you trade all of these guys for Christian McCaffrey? And clearly, he's not just here to win games in December, where we are. But with him fully ingrained into the offense, this team hasn't lost a game. I would like to ask people who are so concerned with losing Jeff Wilson, what happened? Jeff Wilson's injured again, and I don't like to lap that up. You didn't like the idea of the San Francisco 49ers trading an undrafted free agent and getting a draft pick in a round in which they have found George Kittle and Talanoa Hufanga in?
And not only that, but he asked for the trade.
My thing is, be careful what you're outraged about. That was never something that I was, oh my God, what are they doing? What are they doing?
Made sense.
So for me, it's like, come on, man. Like, what are we doing here with this Jeff Wilson thing? The guy, he contributed yesterday. He fumbled the ball for Tyreek Hill to run it in for a touchdown. Shout out to the Miami Dolphins. That's inventiveness on the part of the Miami Dolphins offense also, by the way. That's like pure inventiveness. It's the newest shit I've ever seen. Fumble the ball and just make sure Tyreek Hill picks it up and runs it in.
Good offense. Honestly, touch 1 for 1 on the year.
But in a week that I'm taking L's because of my Brock Purdy takes, which I've apologized for, and I'm not doing again.
No.
I'd like to take a victory lap. Why on earth wouldn't you move an undrafted free agent for a draft pick? Yes. That is good business. You do that 100 out of 100% of times. It makes no sense. It's great business. And the 49ers looked out for Jeff Wilson. And the 49ers haven't lost a game since they traded Jeff Wilson.
No. Not losing one rest of the season.
Tevin Coleman's back, baby. We're good. We're good over here on this side.
Hey, Jerick McKinnon had a big game as well. Come on,
yo.
Man. I know he's a Chief.
Yo. Can we talk? Can we talk?
Oh, we got Jerick McKinnon to talk. Who else had the big day yesterday? There's
QB to QB1. Like literally that pass to Jerick McKinnon. Oh, you thought I forgot? You thought I was feeling you? No.
I wanted to mention Penei Sewell yesterday as well.
Penei Sewell caught a pass yesterday.
We might talk about the Lions at the very end here. But yeah, no. So Christian McCaffrey, very good. You mentioned the point of them trading Jeff Wilson, and people seem to forget whose offense this is. If Kyle Shanahan can turn Jeff Wilson into a 5th-round pick, what can he do with Jordan Mason? Mason didn't get his first touch until the 9:44 mark in the third quarter. He finished with 11 carries for 56 yards. That's in my mind. That's why the Jeff Wilson trade made sense. Is a lot of people, Jason Aponte included, have been hyping up Jordan Mason all season.
He's good.
You have Devo Samuel, right? Which obviously we'll talk about that here in a minute. And you have Christian McCaffrey. You're trying to tell me that if he can turn Raheem Mostert into what he did, and he can turn Jeff Wilson to what he did, why can't he do that for Jordan Mason as well? Kyle's got to do the Penei Sewell with Trent. He's tried that, not the throw, but he's done the in motion thing. I love that.
If Trent Williams catches a pass, America wins. America wins.
I feel like Trent Williams, he's got to be. I would say a touchdown reception would be sick, but Penei Sewell catching the game sealing first down, that's amazing. That's fun with this one in itself. So the Niners run game as a whole had a very good game. Averaged 5.8 rush yards per carry. I'll mention that later when we talk about the offensive linemen. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the Devo Samuel play. The Niners absolutely catch a break. It is I believe a strained or sprained. I get those words mixed up all the time. MCL. He's gonna be back by the Raider game. So obviously the injury wasn't as bad as it appeared. And there was some controversy. I'm not going to say there was no controversy. There was tweets that were thrown out there. People seem to want to blame Kyle Shanahan. Jerry Rice said something that was factually incorrect on a few levels, that Jimmy, Trey, and Samuel got hurt on inside runs when realistically one of them did. My thing is people trying to blame Kyle Shanahan on this for running up 21. And I don't think this is the point I tried to make yesterday, Jason. And I don't know if you could tell I'm a lot better when I get a day to organize my thoughts.
Everybody is.
On 3 seconds right after
everybody is.
Samuel fumbles the ball. The Buccaneers get the ball into Niners territory, deep into, I think they got to the 20. And they turn it over on downs. If Samuel fumbles, that ball doesn't get injured. Obviously, that's a big part of this. And Tampa Bay goes down and scores. It's a 21-7 game going nearly into the half. I know, obviously, the Ayuk touchdown happened before halftime, so maybe it's 28-7. I just don't know what world we are in where there's even a conversation, like even a joke. I like to make joke, and I would never joke about an injury, so this isn't my area. I like to joke about things. But at what point does a 21-0 lead in the second quarter against Tom Brady, not even like you could even take Tom Brady out of the discussion. At what point is a 21-0 lead in the second quarter time to call off the dogs? And that's my question.
Andrew, I do think that a lot of the anxiety only being up 21-0 has a lot to do with Tom Brady. Remember last podcast, you mentioned 28-3, and I said, bro, what are you doing? Like, why would you even say that, right? If on the other side of it, it's 21-0, and you're facing the Washington Commanders, you're good. I think you're good. You're fine. But I think it's what you're talking about. It's not an inside run. It was cut inside.
He cut it inside.
You want to – some people are going to say, hey, Kyle Shanahan took his foot off the gas pedal like he normally does at the half. If Jordan Mason ran the ball 1, 2, 3 times for 1 or 2, 3 yard gains and they punted, you would say Kyle took his foot off the gas. This is a tough week for the Kyle haters.
Yeah.
It just is. Because now you are running out of everything. And Tarvarius Jerry Rice was wrong on everything. Jimmy Garoppolo didn't get hurt running up the middle. Wrong. That wasn't an inside run for Devo Samuel. Wrong.
Yeah.
Jerry Rice be off the henny during the games. There's a meme of it. And a lot of 49ers
there very much is.
And the 49er fans that watch this show, I am not trying to tell you to stop drinking during games.
Yes.
What I'm pushing back on are two things. One, you have run out of things to criticize Kyle Shanahan for. Over 500, winning games with a backup quarterback, 4th down, putting his foot on the gas pedal, putting the ball in his best player's hands. By the way, Devo Samuel got paid doing exactly what he did on that carry. Okay?
Yeah.
Then everybody who tells you, well, he played, you know more than him. Here's my pushback. You know more than the play caller. You know more than the front office. You know more than the head coach. Jerry Rice was wrong. It hurts me. This is my Nino Brown about to shoot G Money in New Jack City with tears in his eyes. This is my moment. That's my GOAT. My favorite player of all time, but he was dead ass wrong. My problem is this. You have too big of a platform to be wrong. To be wrong and loud like that. You have too big of a platform. Jerry Rice, I love you, buddy. But goddamn, you got it all wrong. Yeah. All of it. When did Jimmy Garoppolo get hurt running up the middle? Yeah. That wasn't an inside run. Yeah. So my thing is, when people tell you, oh, do you know better than a player? Okay. He has an informed opinion, but that implies that you know better than the guys who are running the team and the play callers, and both are incorrect. So don't tell me that. I love you, Jerry Rice, but you got to lay off the henny during the games, bro. Chill out, man. Like, for you to run an Instagram and do that, it only amplified people that were already angry during the game. I don't get that. I don't understand that portion of it. Jerry Rice, you're the GOAT. Nobody's gonna dispute that. But I just want to tell our listeners, football players get it fucked up too. They do. Yeah. They played, they have an informed opinion, but there are so many football players that give out bad takes. I mean, Emmanuel Acho is out here.
That's what I was gonna say. Emmanuel
Acho's out here every single day on a big platform who used to play football. Shady McCoy is awful at what he does. There are football players who have played this game, have been at the highest of levels that absolutely stink talking about this game. And yet, when it confirms your priors or your confirmation bias is a hell of a thing, I'm not going to argue with Jerry Rice. Well, Jerry Rice said the sky's orange. The sky's blue. Jerry Rice was wrong.
I just didn't like, and I wasn't fully paying attention, but I didn't see anybody complain about the inside run that Christian McCaffrey had that went for 38 yards to put the 49ers up 35-0 after the Devo Samuel injury. I didn't see any complaints on that.
Hold up, and let me push back a little bit more. It was cool when Devo Samuel was running inside runs to send you to LA for the NFC title game on 3rd and 8 while he was injured. And Kyle Shanahan knows that the best way, right? The best way is to get the ball in your playmaker's hands. I love Jordan Mason, but are you meaning to tell me that you believe that Jordan Mason has a better chance of hitting a home run on a run than Devo Samuel?
Yes.
I don't think that's true. So he didn't take his foot off the gas. He wanted to put up more points. And he tried to get the ball in his playmaker's hands. He made a decision to run inside on an outside zone. And unfortunately, you know another thing, guys? It's football. It's a physical sport. Guys get hurt. It happens. So, again, one last thing before I pass it to Andrew.
Yes.
It's more about you're running out of things to criticize Kyle Shanahan for at this point. And now you need to have this be that. And I think the question that needs to be asked to yourself, like you got to look yourself in the mirror, like point at yourself. Do I hate Kyle Shanahan? Do I not like Kyle Shanahan? And you have to have that talk with yourself, not me. Because right now, Kyle Shanahan, all this season has done, has stomped out every single narrative for every single anti-Kyle Shanahan person.
Yes. And what's going to stink is we have this kind of trend that's developed the past couple of years is when the Niners inevitably start 4-4 next season, people are going to be making the same complaints about Kyle Shanahan when the slow starts seem to be a trend because the Niners are now remember when everybody was panicking about 4-4 earlier this season? What's the record now? Is it 9-4?
Something.
So and it's the same thing as last year. They started 3-5 and they did what they did. So Kyle Shanahan, I think it's time we kind of push that back. Stop blaming Shanahan for things because I think he's a very good coach. I think he's one of the best coaches in the NFL.
And Kyle's not going anywhere. Get used to it.
And Kyle's not going anywhere. So there it is, Jason. We are at 30 minutes. We're at the running backs. So we love it. A lot of good conversation coming from this game yesterday. Good time to remind people that if you're new to the channel, subscribe to Jason Aponte's YouTube channel. It is a great channel. It's a great Christmas present. Wrap it, give it to significant others, whatever it may be. Also, subscribe to the Straight Red Option podcast. You can find that anywhere you get your podcast, including Amazon podcasts now because I clicked the link and it posted there. So there you go. So if you guys want to download our podcast anywhere you can find the Sprint Red Option podcast, now's a great time. I don't have much on the receivers, Jason. I am just here to continue my Brandon Ayuk propaganda. He is the best receiver on the 49ers. Devo Samuel is the best offensive weapon. Brandon Ayuk is the best receiver. Let's not get it twisted. I get it. He had a 14.7 ADOT yesterday on 3 targets. ADOT for the kids out there, that is average depth of target. That is his second highest since week 1 when he had 19.3 yards per yard average depth of target against the Bears. That was on 3 targets. And for those of you saying, well, look what happens when Trey Lance is in the offense, his third highest ADOT was actually 14.1 in week 3 against the Broncos on 8 targets. So my point is Devo Samuel. Brandon Ayuk is very good. He's Niners' best receiver. And just to give you the context of how much I trust Brandon Ayuk, the player I look is when the Niners come out of the huddle, the only player I look for where he is Brandon Ayuk, mainly because he's the easiest one to find because you have guys like Devo Samuel who he'll be in the slot, he'll be outside, he'll be at running back. Christian McCaffrey, he'll be all over the place. Brandon Ayuk is the only guy where I'm like, okay, here's where he is. And on his touchdown pass, I saw him at the top. I saw the one-on-one coverage. And the second Purdy released the ball, because you know how when they move the camera on deep passes, there's always that be there, like be there, be there. That's your thought. in my head, the second Purdy released that ball, it was, oh, he's got him. Because literally every time, and I tried to find separation stats. NFL doesn't track it unless you get 5 targets.
Next gen stats.
Well, I tried to find what it was yesterday. They only track it if you get 5 targets. I learned that.
Ah, that's why. Okay, good call.
Yeah, I tried to find it. They had Kittle, but not Ayuk. And it just continues this thought I've had of every time Brandon Ayuk is targeted, he's wide open. And yes, I know sometimes he has those tight throws where he does out physical cornerbacks, but I would say uneducated guess 85% of the time if he's being targeted, he's wide open. So there's my little 5-minute spiel on why Brandon Ayuk's the best receiver on the Niners.
Yeah, I mean, he's the king of 2 catches and having them be impactful, one of them be a touchdown, right? But yeah, I think you're starting to see it. There's route separation, all of that. Yeah, I mean, it's to a point where the 49ers have the perfect complement of weapons, meaning you have your separator receiver type like Brandon Ayuk. You have your offensive weapon. You have another offensive weapon, which, this is something that was spoken about in our group chat, but, and Jordan's the one who, brought this up, and I don't want you to come for Jordan. I think it's just a really good point. If there was ever a time to offset the loss of Devo Samuel, it's with Christian McCaffrey now at this point, right? This would look a lot worse if Christian McCaffrey wasn't here, right?
Yes.
Now, it seems that he's avoided season-ending injury, but Christian McCaffrey is about to pass Roger Craig. I just sent out the stat. Pass Roger Craig for most receptions by a running back in his first 6 years, and he's missed almost 2 years due to injury.
Worth the game, something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So it's the perfect complement of weapons. Brandon Ayuk's your route runner. Devo Samuel's your your guy with the ball in space. George Kittle's your guy who can get separation and can get yards up. Like, all of them fit. They all fit perfectly. And again, this goes back to there's no way that you're on your third quarterback and people are still afraid of you. Yes. No way, man. No chance. But this is the 49ers. This is how they're built. Their playmakers are here to – the playmakers were brought here to make everything easy for whoever the quarterback was. Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo, anybody. So this is where we are. So, yeah, like right now, Brandon Ayuk is the best wide receiver on this team, but they all complement each other in a way that makes sense. And that's why everybody's still so excited. That's why the 49ers keep winning games. I mean, we haven't even gotten to the defense yet.
Yeah, no, and that's where we're working our ways to. You mentioned Kittle really quick. I just want to touch on Kittle. 5 targets. He had 7 the last 2 weeks combined. So another one of those games where he just kind of randomly pops.
They tried to get him involved early.
They tried to get him going early, but also too, that's what happened. Like, when you take a 28-0 lead, when players get going early and you just kind of stop using them, that's what happened. Is what it is. He probably has more targets than 5. I mean, the receivers all have a better game if they're not winning 28-0. That is what it is. Offensive line, I only have a handful of notes on him. If you want to specifically call anybody out, Jason, I'll obviously give you your minute. 6 pressures allowed on 23 dropbacks. Purdy had a relatively clean pocket all game. 0 sacks allowed. Purdy very mobile. That helps. I don't want to this is, and I know we're talking offensive line, but I feel like if you take Trey Lance and you take Jimmy Garoppolo and average him out, like Brock Purdy's there. And I'm not saying he's as mobile as Trey Lance because he's definitely not, but he has that mobility that we've been talking about where, hey, mobile quarterback isn't a quarterback you expect to run the ball like Lamar Jackson. Yeah. I consider Aaron Rodgers a mobile quarterback, right? Like that type of thing. Brock Purdy, very mobile in the pocket, definitely helps the offensive line. And I really think the biggest stat of the game for the offensive line, I mentioned it earlier, 5.8 yards per attempt on rushing on the ground. The Niners' offensive line just kicked the Buccaneers' ass yesterday. That's really the best way I could say it. Jason, I'll give you your minute before we move on to the defense. I'll let you talk any offensive lineman you want.
Yeah, and it also helped that Vita Vea got injured in this game early on, man. That was such a big thing, man. I was scared all week about Vita Vea. I wrote about it on NinersNation.com. I don't know if you guys know Andrew and I write for them. But that was my X factor, was the interior O-line, because Vita Vea can destroy games. I don't want to bring up bad memories, but Chris Jones, Grady Jarrett, like we have examples of inside guys doing that. When he left, it felt a little bit better, but I think Andrew's right in terms of giving credit to Brock Purdy for, one, standing in there and taking some shots in this game, man. Oh my God. And standing in there and throwing the ball and delivering it. And also, again, I love what Andrew said about mobile. Navigating the pocket is necessary. Is mobile doesn't mean you want to run. It's about navigating the pocket and still looking down the field. I think that a lot of people get mobile and running quarterback mixed up, but he does feel a little bit more mobile in the way that where he like slips by, and he lets a guy fly right by him, and then he throws the ball. That was probably his best throw of the day, and it was nothing more than a 9-yard catch to Devo Samuel.
Yeah.
So, yes, the offensive line played well. But Brock Purdy deserves a lot of credit for, one, standing in there, delivering the ball while taking a hit, and also being able to avoid those hits to keep drives going. So I thought the offensive line did fine. I don't have anybody necessarily to call out. Burford did get to start, as you know, Brunskill started last week. So we still have this platoon back and forth at right guard. I mean, I'm not going to argue with it since it's working. Has anybody asked questions about like why this is the reason that it's happening? But whatever.
I don't think there's an answer.
Yeah, but whatever. But as of right now, I think, when you have a quarterback who is operating the offense in this way, when you're able to run the ball the way that you did, Christian McCaffrey had a baller game. The offensive line kind of falls into line there with it. So yeah, I mean, give him credit, but I think there's some more credit that goes to Brock Purdy.
So there, the offensive line solid, nothing really to shout out. So there, I think that's the best way to describe that game yesterday for them. They were solid, but Purdy is pretty good. Dare I say? Hey, let's go to the defensive line. I hate that. Yeah, I hate.
Why'd you do that?
I hate Purdy good. I hate Mr. Relevant. I hate Mr. Irrelevant. We need to come up with a better nickname.
Hold on, but all right. So what's your favorite Brock Purdy name?
The NSFW ones, but like we need like, what's your favorite? Is there one I haven't heard?
Is that NS? Is the one referring to the gun NSFW?
Ooh, the Glock 13.
I like Glock Purdy.
Glock 13. I do want to get Hemi Purdy going just because it's fun. It's not a good one. I'll say it's not fun. When Trey Lance takes over next year, it'll be Hemi Lance, or when Tom Brady takes over, it'll be Hemi Brady. Like, I just think it'll be continuity.
Is that why Tom Brady was so nice to all the four? By the way,
Tom Brady looked so nice yesterday. He was so happy to be there.
By the way, shout out to Tom Brady. Yeah. And the 49ers, after the game, completely fanboyed out. I hope you guys were able to watch that video that NFL Films put out. It's on Inside the NFL, which is on Paramount Plus. I don't know why I'm promoting this. I'm just telling you that's where you would find it.
Hey, that's Paramount Plus.
So
got you, Jason.
You've got Aaron Banks, Jawan Jennings, Spencer Burford, Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, George Kittle, Brock Purdy, all these guys, after they absolutely demolished the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, running up to Tom Brady and acting like fanboys in the same way that I would if the greatest quarterback that's ever played the game was there in front of me. And Tom Brady was nice enough to hang out with guys, sign their autographs. He signed Dre Greenlaw's interception ball. That's a class act. And people are making a joke. He's trying to be nice to his future teammates. Like
what I found funny about that video is it opens up with Brock Purdy going like, "Hey, where's Tom at? Where's Tom Brady? I don't know where he is." But then he was the one that was like least excited to see him. He was very professional. Everybody else was like, "Hey man, you're my favorite. I love you. Be my best friend." And Brock was just like, "Hey, good game. I beat you. Sucks for you, right?" And that's really all it was. I thought it was funny. It's energy. It's BDE. Dare I say? Hey, let's talk about the defensive line. So the Niners really sticking my neck out here once again. The defensive line is pretty good, and really to put it in context is I felt like they were the best unit on the defense yesterday. They didn't sack Brady once, but they did create 19 pressures. And I saw Lombardi tweet this. I looked at it earlier and I had it written down before Lombardi. I just didn't tweet it. So please credit Lombardi. He tweeted it. I'm just throwing it out there.
Lombardi.
If you look at did you look at the breakdown of the pressures?
I didn't.
Omenahue, Alshire, Bosa, Ebukam, Willis, McGill, Armstead, and Hyder all had 2 pressures each.
Wow.
So 19 pressures, and 16 of them were split up between 8 different players. That's just And I know it gets a little easier to do that with, the end of the game, backups coming in more, blah, blah, blah. It's just consistency. Everybody, and that's the other side of the conversation, right, of the Devo thing, to bring it back, is like when I list these names: Omenihu, Al-Shaair, Bosa, Ebukam, Willis, McGill, Armstead, Hyder. Who are you throwing out there in garbage time? Because all of them have a role on this defense, right?
Andrew, but hold on. Andrew, you've got to take everybody out and just bring in all new people, because you have 100 people on your game roster.
I was sitting in section 105 last week. They could have pulled me in,
Oh, right. You can only have 47 active.
Yes.
On game day.
That's the other point I wanted to make on the Devo side of it. Like, who do you pick to eat that? Like, obviously, I think there's a couple names that stand out, but even then, like, all of them have roles. I did mention Drake Jackson. I think he had a pressure. He had a
pass knockdown.
Well, so that's the stat I was going to. He had a batted pass. That was his 4th batted pass on the season, according to Pro Football Focus. Kevin Givens is second on the team with 1. And those are the only 2 Niners with batted passes this season. He has 80% of the Niners' batted passes this season.
This team got a first-round talent in the 2nd round and is showing incredible instincts, because he knows he's not going to get to the quarterback and is able to track where the ball is and knock it down, which is a skill all in its own. This is what we're talking about when we say that this team is so deep. Guys that are 2nd and 3rd string for the San Francisco 49ers start on your team. C. Key, Arden. The man literally got paid by the Jacksonville Jaguars just being over here, right? Kerry Hyder had his best season ever, left, came right back. This is, again, the roster that's built, the culture that's here, the coaching. D'Amico Ryans is leaving. He better not take Chris Kosurik with him.
By the way, really quick, just throwing this out there. I love the tweets that happen before I wake up and I go through them. And some of them are very obvious from Schefter and Rappaport that are just like, I need to hit a tweet quota. Because I think it was Schefter that tweeted, like, D'Amico Ryans, the defensive coordinator for the 49ers, is probably going to be a head coach next year, which means that would be 3 years in a row of a Niners assistant. Like, thank you, Schefter. Thank you. Thank you. Whoa.
I mean, that's high-level stuff right there. That's high-level stuff right there. Yeah, that's high-level stuff right there. But there's more. This is the thing. The roster building in itself is draft picks. It's your undrafted free agents. And the coaching thing, if you do it the right way that the 49ers have done it, you recoup picks. This is going to be the 3rd minority coach that is going to be hired, because Saleh, McDaniel, and Ryans. And you get picks for that. I hate that policy because it incentivizes something that should be regular. The best man, regardless of color, creed, anything, should get the job. But the 49ers have done a masterful job of not only finding undrafted free agents that don't just play for the team, they contribute, but having a farm system of coaches in which every single year NFL teams are looking to you for the next guy. And all that does is reward the 49ers with 3rd-round picks. Mm-hmm. Now, 3rd-round picks are very valuable. Sorry, Ty Davis Price, this isn't about you or anything like that. But most of the time, they're very much valuable.
Yes.
This team right now, what they're doing, what they built, how they're building. It's a masterclass right now in how to build a loaded roster. And that's what should have everyone excited about this team. That's the reason this team is so scary, even with Brock Purdy, because they've done this for years and years and years. It didn't show in the beginning. It takes a while. Rome wasn't built in a day.
No.
But this is why Kyle's not going anywhere. John's not going anywhere unless, he wants to. They have built something that other teams aspire to build. And it's done through a multitude of ways. Not only through coaching and recouping those picks, but for every time they miss on a pick, there's an undrafted free agent that they have signed that is able to play. Like,
or
it's
a 5th-round pick.
We're so lucky. We are so lucky to watch a team that is able to do this year after year after year. Organization. This is a far cry from what it used to be. So I think we should all be excited about that.
And I mean, what's to say? 2 years ago it was Saleh. Last year it's McDaniel. This year it's Ryans. Next year, like, with the way it is, Brian Greasy, like the way the
Greasy's gonna get an OC job somewhere.
Exactly, and I tried to mention it during Purdy. I saw a lot of people mentioning him. He deserves a ton of credit as well. So yeah, the Niners are a machine that, like the way they've been run the past few years, even with people trying to put Kyle Shanahan on the hot seat. I feel like a lot of teams look at this coaching staff and how they churn out the talent and say, man, we wish we had this. And Sin, absolutely correct point. Niners are doing something for coaching diversity that the league should be doing. And I'm not going to even pretend to get the specifics of what they do. So yes, absolutely. I don't know how they do it, but they just constantly do it. And that's why, to me, Kyle Shanahan will never be on the hot seat until the wheels absolutely have to fall for Shanahan to be on the hot seat. So there's that. Jason, you said everything that needed to be said about DeMeco Ryans and this defensive line as well. Let's get to the linebackers.
Did I apologize to Drake Greenlaw last week?
Have we apologized about Drake? Because we'll do it every week until people take it seriously, because he's been unbelievable. And a little bit with the Fred Warner aspect of growing up with Patrick Willis, right? And I'm not comparing either name to Patrick Willis, so stop typing. I'm not comparing either to Patrick Willis. But growing up watching Patrick Willis, the thing that always stood out to me is he's in on every play, right? And it's something you've heard me say about Fred Warner. And to me, that's how I kind of judge how good a linebacker is. If I see them on every play. Yeah, dude, we'll just keep apologizing. Listen, if the Spirit Red Option podcast just turns into us apologizing to every player, I'd be okay with it.
And also, if the Spirit Red Option podcast turns into something where we have to talk down on players to get the most out of them, then I'm with it.
I'm not against it.
I'm with it. I'll take the L's if the team takes W's.
Exactly. Absolutely. I would gladly take L's. So to the point I'm making, Dre Greenlaw has gotten to that point where I feel like every time there's a play to be made, he's in there. I mean, 15 tackles yesterday. He has 100 tackles on the season. I wanted to look it up and see when the last time the Niners had 2 100-plus tacklers on the same defense.
Sadly, Axel, it's only about players who actually play. And there's people in front of them. Hey, now look, if something, God forbid, happens to someone else and he has to play, for sure, but
when Ambry Thomas gets on the field, we'll slander him. He'll turn it around. I promise. But Dre Greenlaw, 15 tackles. I tried to look up the last time the Niners had a pair of 100-plus tacklers, and I got to last year. I forgot Aziz got to 100, so that was just a waste of my time. But Dre Greenlaw, Fred Warner, also very good. He had the interception. You mentioned the autograph he got from Brady, which. I understand because it's Tom Brady. It's Tom Brady, right? You understand Tom Brady. That Brady understands that that's going to be a Greenlaw family heirloom for the next thousands of years. New pod, thank you, Paul. The L-cast, thank you. Yeah, I'd be okay with it on it.
All right. So Andrew, real quick,
we can admit we're wrong.
No, but Andrew, the best part about Twitter, YouTube is people don't rush to you when you get it right. They rush to you when you get it wrong. So this is a thankless business. It's a thankless business. Because if I say something that comes to fruition, nobody's pulling up my tweets and saying, yo, Jay said this, and this, or they're pulling up the YouTube clips when but when you get it wrong,
yes.
Oh, everybody is back on that.
So although it is kind of an electric, because it doesn't happen to me too often. And I forget who it was, but it was kind of an electric feeling last week to look at my phone, see somebody tweeted at Jason Aponte, at Pasquini Andrew, apologize to Purdy. It's like, man, that's kind of a fun electric feeling to get that. People care enough about my opinion.
But all right, look. I've apologized to Purdy. Okay. But what I saw in training camp is not the player that's playing today. And if you believe that was going to happen, great on you. But let's not sit here and act like I saw a tweet saying that Purdy was the best in camp. That's wrong. That's wrong. That is wrong. But there were moments where Purdy looked good.
Yes.
But that guy that I saw in camp is not the guy that just demolished the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And that's credit to him.
He's grown.
That's credit to him.
As Fred Warner said, he's gotten to play the best defense in the NFL for 12 weeks now.
That's credit to him. That is credit to him. That is all credit to him. And I'll take my L on this. That's fine. I dug in on my stance that I didn't want to see Purdy play. Fine. I'm wrong. 100%. I like being wrong when it means that my team is winning games. I'm 100% good with the L's. I'm fine with it.
Yes.
And buckle up, folks. I don't seem like I'm going anywhere anytime soon, so I'll have more wrong takes.
We will absolutely have more wrong takes. And we'll have right takes.
Our
goal is to entertain you guys.
Right.
That's all we're here for.
My thing is, when you have to have a take about everything, you are going to get things wrong. But people don't run to you when you get it right. They run to you when you get it wrong. That's it. I got it wrong. Shout out to Brock Purdy. Thank you, Brock Purdy. You have made this season great. Keep going, Andrew.
We're talking about Dre Greenlaw. My brain had to switch gears.
So again.
I know what you were saying. I just had to switch my gears back to linebacker. I was ready to give you a whole take on Brock Purdy.
No, we had a criticism of Dre Greenlaw.
Yes,
he's cleaned it up.
He's definitely cleaned it up. He's gotten better in the run game. He's really looked. I'll put it like this. He looks like the linebacker people pretended he was in 2019 after his play at the goal line. And he was good in 2019. He had a rough 2020. He had an injury-riddled 2021. There definitely were questions, and he has answered all of them. I mean, 100 tackles on a season doesn't come out of nowhere. Yeah. You know, what he's done in pass coverage, I know he got targeted, I think 13 times. He had 11 receptions allowed, but no really big plays. He isn't getting burnt. He's keeping these around him. I think he had a 60 passer rating against. What Dre Greenlaw's been this season, and I'll continue to say it, is really established the Niners linebacking core as the best linebacking core in the NFL.
Let me take this real quick. But all I hear is Kyle don't coach up the quarterback. So Jason, if Purdy wasn't looking like this in training camp, then Kyle can definitely coach quarterbacks.
We never had that. Yeah, we never had that take.
And I think what needs to be added in the context of Purdy, and we need to get back to the linebackers. I don't want to make this about him, but there were days where Brock Purdy got 3 reps, 2 reps, no reps, right? They were just. There were days that Nate Sudfeld looked better than Purdy. I can only give you what was being seen right then. If someone wants to project going forward, good on them. I'm not in the business of that because I feel like it blows up in your face. But here we are, and everything's blown up in my face. I can only go off what I've seen. There were days where Purdy absolutely controls situational drills. He looked good. There were days where Purdy threw head-scratching interceptions. And I was like, I couldn't believe. I was just like, why are we using these reps? Give him the tray. Give him the tray. Trey's the starter. Give him the tray. Give him the tray. I think a little bit of my issue, and this is what I'm trying to learn. I'm evaluating players now. I'm asked for my opinion. This is the first time in my life that this has ever happened outside of a barbershop, right?
Yes.
My issue is I wanted Trey to get as many reps as possible because Trey was a starter, and I wanted Trey to continue to that's my frustration with Brock Purdy in training camp was, one, he would only get 1 or 2 reps or whatever. And then sometimes I would feel like, okay, you're giving too many reps to this guy. Where's the reps for Trey Lance? And I want to see that because I need him to grow. That's it. But again, I'm glad to be wrong. 100%.
Exactly, yeah. And my thing, the day I went, I was trying to find the notes I had. I can't find them right now. But the day I went, the 8-minute periods, it would be 5 plays for Lance, 3 for Sudfeld, 1 for Purdy. and they'd rotate through.
Wake up, honey, new Sudfeld dart.
That's
not a meme.
darts.
That's not a meme. Some of the best throws that we saw, and this includes Trey Lance, on certain days, were from Nate Sudfeld.
Yeah. Yep. So absolutely. So yes, Purdy. This podcast was wrong. We're okay with being wrong. It's okay. What Jason saw on camp is totally different than what we're seeing now, and that's just the fact of it. Linebackers. I'm going to put a self-imposed until 3 stars, no Brock Purdy conversation. There we go. Boom.
Done.
We're going to move away from until 3 stars. We can't have a 3 stars conversation without mentioning Brock Purdy.
Done.
But Dre Greenlaw is very good. We apologize for that as well. Another thing.
I'm sorry, Dre Greenlaw.
Sorry, Dre Greenlaw.
I love your velvet do-rag. Please don't hurt me if you see me at camp again.
So there it is, man. And that's that. Linebackers look very good. We'll be quick. We're almost at an hour, so we'll be quick on the secondary.
No, we won't.
No, we won't. Well, I'll be quick on the secondary, and I'll let you go. A name that doesn't get mentioned too often on this podcast, and one that doesn't get mentioned too frequently on 49ers Twitter, Deshaun Gibson. Interception yesterday.
I like it.
Huge. We love that. I feel like a lot of the love goes to Talanoa Hufanga, which is well-deserved. But I really think the biggest compliment you can make on Deshaun Gibson's season is he is good enough at safety. The Niners are comfortable keeping Jimmy Ward at the slot. And Jimmy Ward's been very good at slot corner as well. So Deshaun Gibson's made this defense a little more flexible. So I do want to give him his flowers because honestly, this might be the longest we've talked about him on this podcast in 15. And that's on us, obviously. But on the same time, I don't think a lot of people have talked about his impact. So I want to give him his credit. Deommodore Lenoir is another that like a lot of people talk about. I know he got hurt yesterday.
His eye, though.
He's really, he's going to be fine. He's really good as well. Like this Niners secondary has just turned into this wagon almost. So that's really all I had on the secondary. I wanted to keep it quick. But Jason, I'll give you what you want to say on the secondary, and then we'll move to. Excuse me, I'm burping. I'm drinking carbonated water. We'll get to the 3 stars.
Jimmy fucking Ward. Now, look, I have been a proponent of I don't like him being in the slot because it doesn't feel like he's comfortable. Mm-hmm. But I want to credit Jimmy Ward for not only knowing that this move to the slot would cost him money in the free safety market, but right now he is playing some of his best football out of this spot. What is it? 3.3 yards per target. He had the highest for any slot cornerback grade. Thank you, PFF. I love this when it backs up my point.
Yes, exactly.
And if you say something that goes against me, then
pretty proud of us because I think that's the first time we used to make that joke a lot last year. I think this is the first time we've made that joke this season.
Yeah.
So
I like when my eyes line up with what PFF said. Jimmy Ward has 3 interceptions this season. He had 0 the last 4 seasons. He has been playing such good football out of the slot. I am so happy for him. This is why I can question. We ask questions. They know better. Jimmy Ward is playing great football right now out of the slot. His flexibility, his impact in the run game is absolutely felt week after week. And you mentioned Deshaun Gibson. I wanted Jimmy Ward to replace Deshaun Gibson. Mm-hmm. But Jimmy Ward right now is playing football that is amazing when you consider where he's being played, what he's asked to be, to do. I'm so proud of Jimmy Ward, man. I am so proud of him, man. And you know what, man? If God forbid you're not here next year, you deserve your money. You deserve your flowers. You have been nothing but a consummate teammate, professional, and you continue to show that this year. Jimmy Ward is balling, and I want to make sure everybody knows that because nobody is talking about that right now. And I was one of the earliest people that said I don't want him in the slot because he's too good at what he does at free safety. But look at him getting into his groove and playing as well as he did. Shout out to Jimmy Ward, man. And I hope you're here forever.
Yeah. We've watched him in front of our eyes, more so you than me because you watch the film a little more than I do, but we've watched him relearn the slot cornerback position. There were slight concerns when he started this season, and those have been absolutely worked out. So I'm very happy you took that minute to talk about Jimmy Ward and what he's done in the slot because it was especially because the idea was, throughout the whole season, it was Ward, Mosley, and then ideally, Samuel Womack, Diameter, Lenore, whoever it was. And then when one injury happens, you kind of see how that ecosystem of the Niners secondary gets thrown off. Is who's getting kicked outside, who's going to take over the slot? Because we like, I don't want to do this because I don't pay attention to the Broncos, but K1. Like K1, right? How many times? And I don't know if he's hurt. So if he's hurt, please tell me. I don't know if he's hurt. He is hurt. So never mind. I'm not going to throw it out there. But you see how important. I'm going to pivot to this. You see how important the slot cornerback position is. K1 Williams was very good at it with the Niners for a few years, right? And then obviously you saw Samuel Womack in the preseason going into the regular season, Tiamador Lenore, and now Jimmy Ward. And it almost feels like the Niners value that slot cornerback position as the most valuable cornerback position of the three, because it really took until this season for the Niners to really address that outside cornerback spot with Moody Ward. And I know, but what about Richard Sherman? Well, Richard Sherman was kind of a crapshoot, didn't know what he was going to be until he got here and turned into what he was for the Niners.
And Ward did have 3 last year. What I meant was, and when you think about this, it's his last, it's not even a full season because remember, he didn't play early on. He had 0 for 4 seasons. He's got 5 now, I believe, within this amount of games, right? Like he had the 2 in the Rams game. He had the 1 in the NFC title game. He had the 1 against Miami. So I think that's all of them right now. So he's got 4 right now. So yeah.
And I mean, technically too, and not to nitpick because Omar is right. He had 3 last year. Playoffs don't count as stats too.
Well, I just meant in the recent amount of games.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just saying. I'm throwing it out there. Yeah. But I get what you're saying. You're right. He did have 3 last year. Just stats won't reflect that.
Hey, real quick, Jim Everett, because I got to talk my shit. The Seattle Seahawks lost to Samuel Darnold. Samuel Darnold. Almost lost to Jonathan Wolford, or whoever the hell is.
I'm just gonna name every quarterback
is playing quarterbacks for the Los Angeles Rams. You're a good troll. I like you, and I want you to stay.
We like you, Jim Everett.
I want you to stay, but the Seattle Seahawks are fucking cooked, and they're in trouble on Thursday.
They're Josh Johnson, Brock Purdy doesn't matter.
Don't matter.
Jason, you ready?
Yep.
3 stars.
3
stars. 1, 2, 3. I like to throw out my 3rd star. I say this all the time when I make picks like this. My 3rd star is somebody who I feel like we don't talk about enough on this podcast. And I'm going to throw it out there to Sean Gibson. Interception yesterday. Felt like it was the first time he made a box score. He's kind of he slid into that role where I feel like he is. I don't feel like I'm telling you he is the most forgotten member of this 49ers defense. He's out there majority of the plays, and he doesn't get the shine that Hufanga makes for good reason. Hufanga makes the plays, and Gibson's there to make sure things don't leak out too far. But he finally got his pick yesterday off of Tom Brady, so I do want to give him the 3rd star of the day.
My 3rd star, Jimmy Ward. For all the things that I mentioned before as well, too, man. I am so happy for him. The element of smarts, experience, effectiveness in the run game. If he's now able to cover slot corners, God help whoever is the opponent. Jimmy Ward, please don't ever leave. And if I could give you some of the money out of my pocket, which is not much, if that'll help you stay, I hope that helps. So
so well, first contract negotiations we'll throw in. He was the 3rd star for week 14. Podcast. Jay, we'll get this point. We'll get this in a minute here. Thank you for the donation. 2nd star for me is Christian McCaffrey. I mentioned the rushing yards, 119. He finishes with 153 total yards, 2 receptions, one of which was a touchdown, 8.5 yards per carry. Jason Fonte. That's pretty good. So my 2nd star is Christian McCaffrey.
Is that a curb reference?
It's what?
Is that a curb reference? Pretty.
I got the main mainstream memes out there for curb. Yes, so,
I like it.
So I'll go Christian McCaffrey.
Okay, Dre Greenlaw, number 2. Shut me up. Appreciate you. Keep balling. I love it. We all love it. And Shout out to John Lynch for getting that extension done because yesterday's price is not today's price. If he wanted to wait around on this extension, Dre Greenlaw could ask for a raise. At this point, good job, John Lynch, locking that in. That's why you are who you are. That's why we are who we are. So shout out to you, man. And I think we already know what the number one star is.
Yeah, Jason Aponte, number one star. 3, 2, 1. It is Brock
Purdy.
And I want people to look at me when I say this because I'm going to look into the camera and I'm going to say to you guys, that was the best game a 49ers quarterback has had in recent memory.
2017?
The first one that comes to my mind off the top of my head
Jacksonville
is 2019, the Saints game.
Okay.
I thought Jimmy was pretty good in that game.
That's probably Jimmy's best game.
But that I'm including all Niners quarterbacks. I'm including Trey Lance's Texas game. I'm including Jimmy Garoppolo's 4 touchdowns a couple weeks ago. What Brock Purdy did, I'm 30. I haven't seen the greatest of Niner quarterbacks in my lifetime. I got barely Steve Young. The first quarterback I really remember in my lifetime is Alex Smith. And Colin Kaepernick, obviously the most electric quarterback. In my mind, I don't think a Niners quarterback has made me feel like Brock Purdy made me feel yesterday. I'm just going to throw it out there. And I think the story of him being the last pick and him being the third quarterback helps that a little bit. I was feeling things yesterday, man, that I haven't felt with the 49ers in a long, long time. And this is the closest you'll get me to saying like maybe a conversation is to be had in March at this point. I think we're going to talk about that in a few months if things continue to trend the way it is. It's very hard not to get excited about Brock Purdy right now. And it sounds so weird. And I see Tarvarius saying, Lord, here we go with the Purdy hype. And Tarvarius, I know you've been here since day one. You know how level-headed I am with the quarterback position just in general. I'm not trying to make any grand statements that Purdy is better than A, B, C, or D. I'm just telling you what I felt yesterday watching him play the quarterback position. And that's why he gets the number one star.
He gets the number one star because Tampa Bay was an imposing, opponent. He played particularly well. And quarterbacks get all the love. But again, you don't need to make grand statements about, don't get the gold jacket ready for Purdy or anything like that. I think what Purdy has done is at least let us enjoy this ride for a little while longer. I'm cool with that. I'm also cool to say that I probably took too strong of a stance. And I own my L for everybody that's, here if you just pulled up. I'm fine with that. I actually want to get to this. Jay Aguayo, thank you for the donation.
Yeah, so we'll transition now with that because I was going to say what's up next for the Sprint Red Option podcast. We will be previewing the Seahawks game on Thursday. We'll be doing that Wednesday. But this is the elephant in the room. Niners win on Thursday. They win the NFC West. Now, we'll take the Jay Aguayo question. Thank you for the donation. With a win on Thursday, should Kyle consider resting his players? No. Because the Minnesota Vikings lost yesterday. The Niners are 1 game out of the 2 seed. Now, the 1 seed mathematically, technically there.
It's done.
A lot has to happen. Yeah, it is done, but as long as there's a mathematical chance, I'm not going to say it. But the Niners do have a chance to get home field up until the NFC Championship game. If they win, the Vikings, I don't know who the Vikings play next week. This is what I hate about Thursday night games and Niners playing it is my brain is not on next week yet. And after this podcast, I instantly got to get it going into next week. But
you want me to tell you?
Yeah, you pull it up. But no, they shouldn't rest their starter because the number 2 seed is very much in line. So that's what it is. And Paul, yesterday for me, I'll say while you're looking at Paul, yesterday for me, felt like that game was Kaepernick when he blew out the Bears. It felt like that kind. Yes, that's the comparable. I'm just saying in general of what Niner quarterback, not just first games. The excitement Purdy made me feel. So who the Vikings got this week?
So the Vikings this week have the Indianapolis Colts. Is probably a win.
Okay.
The New York Giants, that should be a win. They play the Packers on New Year's Day, which that can go either way. Yeah. And then they play the Bears on January 8th sometime. So the answer is no. You shouldn't rest anybody. And here's why. Trying to get to that second seed ensures you being on the other side of the bracket and having a home game until there's time to not have a home game. So if you have to go to Philly for an NFC title game, you at least were home for 2 games. So, yes. And look, let's be clear. The Vikings on Mars, in Minnesota, in Kansas, I don't care where you play them. You're going to beat the Vikings. The Vikings aren't like that, as the kids say.
No.
But it's way easier to do it at home. Way easier to do it at home. I mean, the 49ers are not going to have to leave the West Coast for the rest of their schedule. Be pretty nice for their next travel, which is going to be across the country, to be for the NFC title game in Philly. In a complete, and if you want to face the Dallas Cowboys, I don't care where you want to face them or whatever. T.Y. Hilton ain't shaking me now at this point. Now that they signed him, I love T.Y. Hilton, by the way.
I love T.Y. Hilton,
but I'd rather have it at home. So I do think that as long as there's a chance you can get to that second seed, I don't think you rest anybody. Plus, you can't rest people for 3 weeks.
No.
Like rust. And here's the elephant in the room. Brock Purdy just started his first game. Yeah. Doesn't he want to develop rhythm with guys?
And even to the other side of it as well is Devo Samuel is going to have to play again this regular season.
Yeah.
Because they can't have him coming off of a knee ankle injury and not get back to game speed before the race. So like the Niners are in a very weird situation with the resting guys. And we'll see how Kyle Shanahan navigates it because it's going to be interesting to watch. I'll tell you this much. I will tell you this much. I think, and this is kind of the Don Purr's, the point Ariel makes with Don Purr. I'm going to spoil the NFL playoffs for you.
The Lions are making it, right?
Well, A, the Lions will make it, and B, one of 2 teams in the NFC is going to the Super Bowl, and that's the Philadelphia Eagles or the San Francisco 49ers. The rest of the NFC are frauds.
Yes. So let's look at –
except for the Lions. We love the Lions. We're very pro-Lions here. Let's go, Jason. Can we get Jason Walsh up here, Detroit versus everybody, just because that's what Don Burr always says? Thank you, Jason Walsh, for getting that.
So let's real quick because we got to get out of here. The Giants are 7-5-1.
Yes.
Then their last 4 games are Commanders, Vikings, Colts, Eagles. I could easily see them losing 3 of those games.
Yes.
Easily. They're out. The Commanders have the Giants, your San Francisco 49ers, the Browns, and the Dallas Cowboys. They're probably going to lose 3 of those games, at least.
Yeah.
They're out. The Seattle Seahawks have the San Francisco 49ers, the Kansas City Chiefs, the New York Jets, and the LA Rams. No, the Jets are like that. The Jets are good, yo. Like, don't sleep. Like, we all want to say that Geno Smith's going to get revenge on the Jets.
My brain thought you said the Giants, and then it pivoted really quick. I'm like, the other team in New York.
Yeah. So Seattle's out. Here's the Lions' path. You maybe lose to the Jets. Maybe. But you get the Panthers, the Bears, and the Packers. And by the time you face the Packers are packed in. Yeah. Not caring. Aaron Rodgers is
just like Brock Purdy looked pretty good yesterday, you know. Packers are packed in.
So let's go Lions. Let's go Denver.
Listen. If all you need to do to just have an idea, all you got to do to get an idea of the Lions, how good they are. Go look at their point differential compared to the 10-3 Minnesota Vikings.
Can I point out that stat that I tweeted real quick? I mean, by the way, Keith Murphy, thank you for the donation.
Yes.
You don't have to get out of here. Keep the show rolling. I'd love to. I just want to eat these shrimp tacos that have been sitting.
I got a sushi bag cooking right now.
All right.
I'm very excited to eat.
This is the NFC West point differentials for the San Francisco 49ers and the rest of the NFC West.
Yes.
The 49ers have a plus 120 point differential. Seattle has an 8-point differential. Arizona is minus 57. The Los Angeles Rams are minus 78. And this with the San Francisco 49ers getting blown out by the Kansas City Chiefs, still having a 120-point differential. Andrew, I'm not the smartest man in the world, but that's a sign of a good team.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. And just since you're mentioning point differential, I teased it. The 10-3 Minnesota Vikings have a -1 point differential. The 6-7 Detroit Lions have a +2 point differential.
Ugh.
And in case also too, I heard a stat on part of my take earlier. In case you're wondering how fraudulent the Vikings are, they have the 4th worst yard differential in the league this year too. The Texans, the Falcons, the Titans. No, and Goj Ravon Jinx says a 7 team may come out of the NFC South. I have something. Just kick the NFC South out of the playoffs and put the Lions in, because I'd rather watch the Lions than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now.
Shit, let the Rams in with Baker Mayfield. Let's have some fun. Let's get nuts.
I think I saw a thing too that the 6-11 Panthers can actually win the division if the rest of the division finishes 6-11.
Really?
Ooh, I'll play off. Axel asked, what was the point differential in 2019? Right plus 169. So the 49ers, if they could win their last 4 games by a combined 50 points, they'll beat that as well. So just kind of give you an idea. Hey, Jason,
sounds like it's done and done.
Jason, we're at an hour 15, my guy.
Yeah.
We should probably kill the podcast. I saw Tarvarius asking where we got the name Sprint Red Option Podcast. That's the play call of the catch. Joe Montana to Dwight Clark, the play that launched the Niners dynasty. Greatest play in NFL history. Don't at me. You know what you can at me with, though? Jason Aponte, as always.
Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners, huh?
Welcome, everybody.
We are live.
My name is Jason Aponte.
I am Andrew Pasquini.
We're working. That's it. We're working over here. That's it. Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners.